Hello, I'm Toycat and welcome back to our second channel geopolitical video, and allow me to start this one with a question, because which country does this flag belong to? You might think you know, but it's actually a trick question because there is no sovereign nation that exists today that uses this flag, because this is the flag of the former Islamic Republic of Afghanistan. You might think that that's the country that takes up this territory right here, but actually this country right here is ruled by the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. Very different, trust me about that one. And as you can see, they have this lovely flag right here. And you might think that's a meme or a joke if you haven't been following international news, but actually yes, this is a real thing. This is the temporary flag. It's likely to be temporary because it's just the flag of the Taliban. The Taliban are the rulers of the new Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, and there's a lot of interesting history between maybe 2001 and 2021 that led to what happened right here, and wow, you can read about that somewhere. But let's just talk about the last maybe month or so as to how this happened so quickly, as to how, like, basically overnight we went from this thing being a thing to, like, this thing being a thing, an entirely new flag, system of government, system of, really everything in the country happening. How does an entire nation just switch hands like that? And not like a small nation either. We're talking about a nation with about 39 million people living there. That's more people than live in London, fun fact. So I'm going to do the reverse version of the your country has fewer people than London fun fact by being like, wow, it's a big country and some crazy stuff is happening. But let's explain how by going into this simple, because explaining military conflicts via maps is often very hard, but this is the one that did the best job in my opinion. This is a map that shows on the left here, this was the map where things were on the 9th of July, with blue zones being government controlled, red zones being Taliban control, and yellow being contested. It was thought that the government could hold off the Taliban for the most part, never fully eradicate them, but like at least push them off. As you can see, the government's got more control than not, and there were contested regions, but at least it was, going to be a long fight. The worst estimates were that it might, the Afghanistan might fall in months from this point. And here's the 15th of August, that is yesterday. As you can see, most of Afghanistan has fallen. Just 12 districts being controlled by the government, and that's mostly the capital city, Kabul, and then just a few to the north of it. And it's like, oh, so things were almost over. The capital city was under siege, and then as you can see from later that day slash to the next day, it's actually a little bit unclear as to the exact moment power transitions, because it's very much a power transitions when the people believe it's transitioned is always slightly true, but also there's the men with AK-47s that are making it transition, so it gets complex. But here's the map as of today, the 16th of August. As you can see, the Taliban now control everything, and there are some contested districts that will likely fail very shortly. What I found even more useful is this map right here, showing all the in-between stages where you can see, like, oh yeah, it really was like a moderate fight. Literally, the 11th of August, you're like, it's not going great, but it's a fight. And then it's like, here's the 12th of August, it's fine. And then here's the 13th of August, oh, they took a pretty big city. And then it's the 14th of, oh god, it's all over. It's GG. It's the game is over, And so it's fascinating. You might be questioning, like, so what's happening to, like, the president? And the president of Afghanistan, who you might Google and find out is Ashraf Ghani, but Google is just not equipped to deal with this, because if you go to the Wikipedia page, you can see the president of Afghanistan is this lovely fella. It's fascinating, right? I think it's interesting. There's obviously going to be a brand new, constitution. Basically, the country's going to start again from scratch, basically. It's a fascinating situation to be in from a, you're watching history happen right now. You're watching, like, a fall of Saigon moment. But it's also horrifying on a humanitarian front. Like, usually I try to, remain neutral about, like, the things that are happening on the ground. Because, it's not, it's horrific to look at, but it's not the thing that is changing in the grand scheme of things. Ooh. That is something new. It's not the thing that's changing in the grand scheme of things, but I do have to mention, just because maybe I'm just being selfish here because it overlaps my other interest of, planes and flying and stuff. It is insane to see not only people trying to flee the city, but people at the airport, like, almost like World War Z level scenes, people trying to climb over the fences. But the thing that really, like, got me, I guess, is seeing this footage. Oh, there is, it's an American C-180 or something like that taking off, and people are just like, I need to get out right now, I'm gonna do it. And yeah, I can't even show, I literally can't show you what's gonna happen to those people who clung to the plane, but, like, you can look at that and you can realize, oh, yeah, it's like, it's almost shocking, unreal scenes. I literally cannot come up with words of it. It has been one of the most horrifying things to watch over the last few days. It's crazy. I was considering making a video a couple of days ago being like, so what could happen here, you know? But the speed at which change is happening if you live in Afghanistan is wild. And that change is, you know, the interesting thing is, right, like you might question, like, how did this happen so quickly then? Like, how did they win so fast? And the answer is the people just mostly started giving up. Like, the government forces only held until people just decided, you know, until the very government forces said, you know, just have it to the Taliban, because there are a lot of people in this country that actually do want to see, you know, we see the Taliban as like terrorist name, but in reality, as of basically today, you have to start seeing them as a government force of a country. In fact, that's not even really like an as of today fact. If you look into this Flag of Afghanistan wiki page, because here's the old flags of Afghanistan, you can see not only have they had this Taliban flag before, but also, you know, the Taliban were in control of Afghanistan for a bit. The only difference then is like in the 9/11 context, having a, you know, kind of state terror regime in the Middle East, not seen as so great. Now, you might argue, because of their 20 years of being kicked out, maybe as a result, they're gonna, you know, chill off on the international terrorism side of things. Who knows for sure? But the point is this actually is just a valid government of the country. It seems weird to say that because, you know, the media is like, yeah, but the Taliban is the bad. You know, it's the word that has been used as the big evil enemy. And it is a big evil enemy. They are going to do things that we would consider horrifically regressive as their, you know, their baseline, and then they're gonna, you know, by Western standards, but you know, they're enforcing the standards they want. They are making an Islamic emirate, following a very, very strict you know, like, look at the motto of the country. There is no God but Allah. Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. That's not a motto for a country. It's like if someone asked, what did you have for dinner yesterday? You're like, I think that fish and chips is superior and there is no other meal available. And it's like, I mean, maybe that's an answer, but not really. And so, yeah, anyway, interesting speaking. These guys love their religion as much as I love fish and chips. And if you doubt how much I love fish and chips, this is my desktop background. My OneDrive's not signed in. I need to fix that clearly. But, you know, in case you doubt that is how much I love it. And even then, my state motto is not, there is no meal but fish and chips. This is getting offensive really quickly, actually. So let's go jump now onto the much more fun part of this. There's a humanitarian crisis happening, and it's getting worse every single day, and it's horrifying. And how can you look at this and not be like, my God, this is too much? You know, in a way, honestly, I need to be very clear here, because the reason the country basically fell as fast as it did is because international people stopped, you know, basically said, whatever. We've given you money, we've given you guns, you're gonna have to do this for yourself, because we're gonna, like, self-determination to some extent, right? Like, and it wasn't even true self-determination, it was giving lots of guns to the government forces and being like, please hold off these people. And then, even then, the people of the country, plus the people with the guns and the AK-47s in the country, I want to remind you, they very much did have weapons. It wasn't a peaceful process. They took over, and that is what happens when you don't military intervene in countries. I am someone who is very anti-military intervention, and I think most people claim to be, but then also those same people are like, oh, but this is horrifying. We should be sending in people there to fix that. And it's like, no, you don't have it both ways. Either you go around the world being, you know, Mr. Imperial, Mr. British Empire. What is happening to my page right now? You go around the world. Oh man, I've never seen what has happened here. You go around the world being Mr. Empire, and you prevent stuff like this. And let's be honest, not all the times you prevent stuff like this. Sometimes you're the perpetrator of stuff like this, or you stand by and you see some horrific stuff that I can't even show it all in this video without getting mildly sad. So let's go to something much more fun, because the flag changing question is a good one. Because if you look at the, if you look right here, you'll notice Afghanistan has changed its flag far too many times. First of all, what's with this? This isn't a flag Afghanistan, but if you look, they've changed their flags what I believed to be the largest number of times, but then I found this map, which is the number of official flag changes since independence. As you can see, some countries don't change their flag. Some countries change their flag once or twice, you know, something like that. Some countries, like the Romanias of the world, change their flag 7 times. Spain's on 6 right here. And then, as you can see, Afghanistan's on 18, but what country is the highest? It's the US of A. And you might be thinking, the US has never changed their flag in my living memory, and that's the trick, your living memory. America's both a really young and a really old country, depending on how you see things. If you're a person, America is a lot older than you, and let me prove that with, I don't know, here is the original, the Betsy Ross flag. Whether it was a real American flag or not is an interesting thing. Side note, you know, I was always taught the American flag has 50 stars for the states and 13 stripes for the original 13 states. At one point it had 13 stripes for the 13 original states and then 13 stars. That just seems redundant design, I'm sorry to say. I mean, maybe they were just future-proofing it, because as you might know, they then made a 15-star flag. And then they made, oh god, this page does not work as I would expect. Then after making the 15-star flag, they then made the, oh, there's a lot of 13-star variant. Oh wait, no, these are number of stripes, I'm dumb. So after making the 15-star variant, which has 15 stripes it seems. Oh, I guess they were going to add a stripe for every state, then they realized, oh, that's dumb. So here's 20 stars with 13 stripes. And then after that, here's 21 stars with 13 stripes. Here's 23 stars. Here's 24 stars. 25 stars. 20... You know, America really underestimated how many states it was going to add, it seems. 26 stars. 27 stars. 28 stars. 29 stars. This is a really fun formation of them. 30 stars, 31, 32, 33, 30, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. I like this one a lot, personally. Whenever they go for circular patterns, it always looks prettier than the darn grids. This just looks exactly like the current one, even though there's 43 stars on there. 44, 45, 46, 48. They added 47 and 48 at the same time. But then Hawaii was added, and then Alaska was added. I think I got that the right way around. Was it the other way around? It was Alaska, then Hawaii. You know, there was a full year gap in there, apparently. But anyway, long story short, it's been 61 years with this current American flag, which is actually the most of any American flag. Even in the very beginning, the 13-star flag only lasted 18 years. And so America hasn't changed their flag in a lifetime. But before that, they would go absurd. Every 2 years, the American flag would change. How are you meant to follow that? It's like, oh, the American flag's changed again, honey. They added Oregon to the... I don't know, I'm doing my old-timey American accent again. But long story short, America has the most unique flags. However, this is the most unique official flags. Really, it's the number... It says number of flag changes. It's number of flag designs. What they don't consider is that Afghanistan is a very... what's a polite way to say this? They're a very... You know, history doesn't repeat. It just rhymes. It just goes in circles. So the Afghanistan situation, like the Emirate of Afghanistan is a thing that existed before in many forms. There's a kingdom, like they've gone through every form of government, and they've also gone through lots of different forms of flags, including 2 black flags. Come on, guys, get imaginative. Then we've got black with a seal, black with a seal, black with a seal. We've got the, you know, kind of tricolor, like now, tricolor, tricolor, and then you start to see that, like, okay, this is not even a real flag, guys. Like, we know you know how to make flags, and then you made one that looks like the transparent PNG image almost, but like slightly broken. Then there's this little Islamic moon. Okay, sure, good job. Then there's this. Then there's this, this. And you get the point that during their flag reign, they go for a lot of duplicate flags. I mean, this is the second time we're seeing this flag. And like, you know, I hate to say it, but like this is like the same thing but green. This is a white, you know, I didn't know that at one point France and Afghanistan had the same flag, but apparently that's a true fact. And so yeah, depending on how you count it, Afghanistan may or may not have had more flags. Actually, let me just prove this with counting. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, but it's really 1 again. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 again? Maybe? 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Seemingly like 22, but it's actually 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. You get the point. They're in like 35. And so depending on how you measure it, the country of the most flag changes is either the United States or Afghanistan, which is like the one thing these two countries have in common. Because like I said, it is something I think that is really hard to do is to stick with your, you know, is to like admit what your thoughts are when it is hard to do so. It is hard to pretend that you would rather not, you know, be inside another country dictating their affairs until leaving that country and dictating their affairs does this. and then you start being silent. Like, my favorite example is the Iraq War. Everyone was in favor of the Iraq War until it went badly, and now everyone's like, yeah, always was against the Iraq War. Never thought it was a good idea to be in that country stealing that oil, which doesn't make any sense or whatever. And the same thing, like, that's not why I was there. But that doesn't even make sense as a reason to be in a country. But the same thing is true on the inverse end. There are lots of things that people are going to find unpopular. People are going to be like, yeah, I was always saying we should be in Afghanistan for longer because we want to avoid stuff like this. The next military situation that the United States and whatever else shouldn't be involved in is going to be like this. I mean, you could argue Iran right now is worse off for not being invaded by the United States, right? But also, I would not argue that. I would argue, okay, we've moved to a world where people determine themselves, and sometimes that means letting countries make horrific decisions, and unless they're breaking international law, then it's cool. And some of those things are going to be horrifying. You're going to see, watch this space. Look forward to the places this is going to go. This is going to be a fun Wikipedia article to read back in a couple of years. Ooh, Afghanistan opium poppy cultivation. It looks like that went up when the Taliban were out of charge. I'm just saying, you used any opium poppies, you've been funding terrorism. Or, I guess, a new country statehood. Anyway, speaking of interesting things, the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan has led to economic ramifications in neighboring Pakistan, leading to an 8% drop in Pakistani bond prices. It's expected the re-establishment will lead to withdrawal of foreign investment in the nation and the region in general. That's exciting. Anyway, speaking of things that are exciting, I think there's so many examples of things like that where, like, people are really in favor of them at the time, and then they see the thing that goes badly, they're like, yeah, didn't want that in general. I think the biggest example is obviously, like, the lockdown-related policies where it's like, when you're terrified right now, you're like, yeah, shut down everything. No one is allowed to do anything anymore. And then you have to stick to that opinion because you're like, well, I said to. And then, like, in a few years, when we have a few, what now that people are seeing the mental health crisis, they're like, yeah, I was never in favor of that anyway. Yeah, I always think that people shouldn't be involved in your personal health and social decisions. Actually, I think we should only be involved in the Middle East health and safety decisions because that's how we avoid that. Anyway, basically, people have interesting contradictions. Sometimes you have to be, I think when you have a hard opinion, you should try to change it, but don't just be silent about it when something bad happens. You have to admit, this is one of the two things that could happen. It's this, or it's, taking the local people against what they want. And even though some of those local people don't want what's going to happen to them, maybe the religion behind this has a bad attitude towards one of the two genders. Who knows which gender? Who knows which religion I'm talking about? Who knows if maybe making an emirate around it, which is said to be potentially a lot harsher than Saudi Arabia, who knows if that's going to be bad to people of certain education levels or certain genders or who knows? I don't know for sure. All I know is that it's a crazy thing to have just witnessed happen in the span of 24 hours. And honestly, I just want to, I for one, welcome our new, I welcome our new Emirate overlords. And I'm looking forward to seeing the new flag whenever you get around to it. You know what, guys? I know you're setting up a new country and you're working out how best to enforce, Sharia law on the people of your new state. Great, I get that. It's important. It's very important to you guys. Not important to me, but we disagree. But if you could get someone working on the new flag soon, that would be great. I would love to see what you have to work on. And so I hope you all enjoy this video. I, for one, think that Roman numerals are great. And I'm going to see you all in the next video, unless I don't. No, I'm back at my, I'm back at home in the this is my home PC. It's great. So I planned a bunch of videos, and so the way I plan videos is I like load up tabs with things for them, and like I've got loads of tabs planned for did I use this for something? I feel like I did, and I don't know what these I've got loads of tabs that link into videos. I can't remember what they're even gonna be for. Like, what is this even a map of? Like Sudan maybe? Why did I use the Sudan map in a Sudan video? Was I going somewhere with that? I just don't know what all of this stuff is. But what I am trying to say with this video is that I hope you all enjoyed it, because I'll see you all in the next one. Unless I don't, in which case I won't see you in the next one. But looking forward to seeing the new Afghanistan flag anyway when that gets done. You know, follow this space if you want to see more about that. Also, give me money on Patreon so I can buy kebabs or lobster rolls or even just a strange beverage. Okay, this was the worst outro ever. Second channel, don't care. Goodbye.